Hey Junkies, on this week's episode, we are taking a family trip to Puerto Rico. And we're going to fish with Captain Omar of Caribbean Outfitters in San Juan, Puerto Rico, fishing for some giant tarpon.
Good job, buddy.
Stay tuned for an episode you're not going to want to miss.
Junkie Style.
Well, Junkies, let me just start out by saying, first off, this was not strictly a tarpon fishing trip. It was more of a family trip. As you guys know, as I've always mentioned, Outdoor Junkies, it's not just about hunting, fishing. You also got to involve the family doing anything outside, anything outdoors. We took this family trip to Puerto Rico. We did so many fun things on the trip. It was the boys' first trip to the ocean, so they got to see the ocean. They're super excited about that. We did rainforest tours. We did a bioluminescent bay kayaking trip at night where the water glows with bioluminescent plankton. It's a defensive mechanism that when you are paddling through the water, it glows. It lights up and glows, similar to what we have here in central Wisconsin with fireflies. And it was something I'll never forget. The boys had the time of their life. So it was more of a family trip, but we figured whilst we're in Puerto Rico, why not hook up with a good tarpon outfitter? So I did my research and I found out that Captain Omar with Caribbean Outfitters was the best guide in Puerto Rico for giant tarpon. And I gave him a call and he was more than happy to take us out. And when we show up in the morning, go fishing with him that morning, he explained that the bite was not going to be as good as it normally is. And I'm not an ocean fisherman. I don't know that much about it, but he says it all revolves around the tide.
Outdoor Junkies is brought to you by I-90 Enterprises, Hanksters Motorsports, Hunting Gear, Bait Box on the Rock, Cunis Country, Bear Sets, Custom Jigs and Spins, Bee Fish and Tackle, and these fine sponsors. This has been a Stone Lake production.
As we had the vacation plan, we set the date to go tarpon fishing with Captain Omar months in advance. And when we show up in the morning, go fishing with him that morning, we got to watch Omar go out and catch our bait for the morning, which was super exciting. Goes out and does it every morning. I guess the location where the boat was on the dock that we met Omar, there typically isn't bait fish. He goes somewhere else earlier in the morning. So when he saw that there was a school of bait fish right there next to the boat that we were docking on, he was excited. He says, he explained to us later that it's a rare thing. It hardly ever happens. The bait fish aren't in by that dock or where the marina was where we met him. For whatever reason, he has to go somewhere else, but that morning they were, so it was a good experience.
Oh, that's awesome, Omar.
That was cool.
The setup was very interesting. We're using heavy duty spinning reel tackle, weights, holding bait on the bottom.
So right now I'm gonna have a combination of complete bait, sardines, threadfin herring, and perch. I'm using a follow hook, circle hook, with a little thick sinker.
We're only fishing about 3 feet of water. You wouldn't think that these massive fish would be in that shallow, but they're tarpon, and obviously I was just cruising looking for bait fish, so just letting the bait sit on the bottom. Even when a fish would strike, there was no rush, no panic to go get to the rod to set the hook or anything like that. As Omar explained, that circle hook just naturally does its job. When that tarpon picks up that bait fish and that hook gets anywhere in the corner of their mouth, and I think when they're picking that bait fish up, they're hitting it so hard and taking off that it doesn't matter if you're on the reel or not. It just being set inside the boat with the right drag set, and they take that run, they're naturally just setting the hook into themselves.
It's a threadfin herring, one we just got there in the marina. Right through the nose, right in front of the eye, there's a little hole in there. Right now we're in the beginning of the tide. I'm not expecting much in the first hour. As that tide's gonna start rushing a little bit better, then you're gonna start to see that we're gonna start having some bites here and there. Meanwhile, Tarpon is scavengers and bottom feeders. So what I'm gonna do right now with those sardines that we got, I'm gonna create a little chump. By the time these fish get really active, we're probably gonna have them around wandering around, whatever.
It's like you'll be sitting there just watching 6 rods in the back of the boat, you know, having conversation, enjoying the trip, and then next thing you know, just reel starts stripping, and fish is running 100 miles an hour and flopping on top of the water, and you just roll back there, get to the reel, and just start cranking down on it as fast as you can, slip it out of the holder, and hopefully you got a fish on.
That's all right, buddy.
Wait, is that a left hand?
No, you're good. That's right handed.
This was the huge bait.
That first morning we only had 3 hits and no hookups, and Omar, after about half day, said between 9 and 10 o'clock is when we're going to get our hits, and we did, and we only got 3, which I didn't know. I thought was okay. Omar was pretty disgusted. He said he was embarrassed. He said it is nothing. Normally, that's typically not the situation at all. You can get anywhere from about 20 to 30 hits per trip, and we only had 3. So he said he was embarrassed, and he said we had to come out on another day on our vacation and pick another afternoon to go out with them.
Hey, Junkies. On today's episode, we're fishing for tarpon around San Juan with Captain Omar of Caribbean Outfitters. Stay tuned. We're chasing some giant tarpon. Hopefully we can get 1 or 2 in the boat.
Alrighty, we're gonna be chunking with perch. We're anchored in pretty shallow water, I'll say right now. So right now what I wanted to do is use a little egg sinker here. With this little egg sinker, the main purpose for me is try to sink this into the mud. It's pretty soft bottom over here, so let's see what happens, guys, okay? Last time wasn't that great. Today we got better hopes. Everything's starting again.
Already one.
I told you, it's gonna be different.
We're racing now.
You a little excited. just like bow hunting now, eh? Now it's like exciting as bow hunting.
On the second day, Ashton ended up not coming back out with, but my sister Nikki came out with her husband Jamie, and we were excited to give my sister Nikki a chance at catching a tarpon, which we weren't sure she'd be able to reel in or not. She's not the most avid trophy fisherman to say. When we hooked up with a big fish that Nikki got to set down and reel in, it was awesome. It was super fun being able to film her and watch her try and reel this beast of a fish in. On the first, 5 minutes, probably peeled, I want to say 300-400 yards of line off, where all she could do was hold the pole and just watch it burn, drag, stripping, just running.
This is like the best workout ever. But this is super exciting, so much fun, and I hope it's like a monster.
A couple big jumps, and you could tell, it was going to be about a 100-pound fish, Omar said, and she fought it for a good 10 minutes. We ended up trying to pull the anchor to give her a little bit of relief so we could kind of follow the fish so she could crank down and kind of close some of that distance that she lost right off the bat, the 300 to 400 yards that she lost off the bat. And in the meantime, we were having some anchor problems with the motor, trying to get that situated, but she was a trooper. She hung in there just fighting as hard as she could, trying to reel down on this fish and try and close some distance on it. We had jet skiers flying by. I was worried that they were going to get in between us and the fish and potentially hit the line or something like that, but the fish was out there a long way. Let me tell you, and she passed the reel off to him, and nothing really. It was a good pass. The line was still tight, everything, and then all of a sudden, just boom, line went slacked and reeled in. We realized the fish had broke the leader. We're using 40-pound fluorocarbon leader, and obviously 40 pounds on a 100-pound fish, or even potentially 150, 200-pound fish is obviously light tackle for the fish that we were pursuing. But Omar explained that you have to use a lightweight fluorocarbon leader because tarpon have great eyesight.
Alrighty, guys, one of the most important thing when we use a circle is the way you tie your hook. You gotta snail the hook. What I normally do is just go around, build a loop where I have 3 ends, 3 parts. The end, the shank, and the loop. I open the loop enough so I can have enough room to go around, and then now I'm gonna go up that loop. And I wanted to do it anywhere around 6-7 times, or when you get bored. Pull. once you get it close there, you tie. This is the real reason why you don't set the hook and why you tie a snail knot. He turns and he catches the corner. Turns and he catches the corner. But if I just set the hook, got it? Right, that's what the book said. We all know what we're looking for with this big rod, big hook.
Big bait, big fish.
Go big or go home.
Maybe small fish,
You think that's a snook or a tarpon?
maybe small tarpon.
There you go. Reel.
Check it out.
Help him out, Omar. He needs to.
The fish jump. I need you to remember to stretch your arm. Okay, now pull up slowly and reel on the way down. Attaboy. Better way.
We'll tight.
Next time, remember.
Ratchet off.
Whenever you see the fish, you stretch your arm towards it. Reel down. Go to the right. When the fish pull to the left, you always pull to the opposite side. Keep going. Okay, you wanted to come this way, no problem. Reel fast forward. Attaboy.
Yeah, don't give him
Keep
any,
moving.
no slack, Casey.
Reel down.
And I could see that Omar had the fish in his hands. I was excited, and Kaysen, you could see just his face, super excited, and it's a fish of a lifetime. I mean, you know, it's not every day we get to go out tarpon fishing, so for Kaysen to catch his first tarpon on a trip in Puerto Rico, I couldn't have been more excited for him.
Come over here, bud.
We had one fish in the boat on the board. We were super excited.
What do you say, Case?
Great.
That was big.
Good job, buddy. Give me some skin. All right.
Today we're fishing with Captain Omar with Caribbean Outfitters.
They all said, okay, Justin, you're up next. And sure enough, pole, 5-10 minutes later, pole gets bent over. I'd hooked into this fish that was just peeling, dragging on me. And I'd fight it for 10-15 minutes and try and gain a little bit. Just when you think you're winning, he'd come up to the surface, and Omar knew right away, oh, get ready, and it wouldn't be more than 60 seconds after that. Another boost of energy, boom, stripping more. Everything you just gained, the extra 100 yards, 200 yards you gained on the fish, gone, just like that. The force, the massive force that these fish have and the power that they have to be able to run and peel 100 yards in a matter of seconds. I've never experienced anything like that. You could tell it was big. 15 minutes into the fight, it took a couple big runs where Omar was like, oh, this fish might be bigger than we think. I guess I never had buck fever from a fish before. I've gotten the shakes a little bit musky fishing with Ethan, but for 55 minutes that it took me to fight this fish, my leg was shaking. So I had got my fish close to the side of the boat, just wanted Omar to get the fish in his hands a couple times, but Omar knew that fish that I had hooked, even after 15 minutes of fighting, was not ready to come in.
Daddy, your hands tired yet?
Oh yeah, my hands are numb. Gosh, this is crazy.
I had the leader out like at the tip of the rod. Omar had leader in hand, ready to grab it, but that fish was nowhere close to being ready. Omar guesses it was somewhere around 65 inches with like a 34, 35 inch girth. Looking at those stats, that fish was well over 100 pounds. I would have much rather gotten the trophy pictures and got that fish out of the water, but according to saltwater rules, even just touching the leader is considered a catch. Heck of a fight. Nothing like anything here in Wisconsin. I mean, you could say maybe a muskie, but honestly, even if you're a big muskie fisherman would agree that a tarpon will put a muskie to shame any day. So it's like muskie fishing on steroids. It's crazy. And then my dad got his first ever tarpon. It was awesome watching my dad catch his first tarpon. I could see the excitement on my dad's eyes. He was excited. And
Most right one.
Big like that's right. That's right.
Grandpa.
What?
So that's what we decided to do for Father's Day on our trip to Puerto Rico. Me and my dad spent some time together tarpon fishing, and for me to be able to film him catching his first tarpon, laying it all down on footage, being behind the camera and capturing the moment was something super special. To see his first tarpon come out of the water and to see how excited he was.
Yes, sir. We want to finish it right there. See how that looks, too. Yeah, it's coming. Don't trust him. Don't reel too much more. Okay.
Barely there.
What I'm talking about on the hook with the thing.
Omar did an awesome job landing that fish and held it up. We got some really good pictures of that fish.
Look at that, guys.
And got that one right back in the water. And I could see the excitement on my dad's eyes. He was excited.
Oh,
Yeah, it's simple.
that was simple.
There you go. One hand here, just like a bass. And the other one right where I got mine.
Got it.
There you go. Cool.
Better. Thank you, Omar. Come in here. Come in here, Omar. Get in there. Nice job. Nice job, buddy. How cool is that?
Yeah, right?
That
so
is
many we
cool.
gotta go through, huh?
There
Finally.
you go. There you go.
But no, won't be last one. It's not the last one, okay, guys?
We're
So,
good.
how can people get a hold of you?
www.fishinginpuertorico.com Caribbean Outfitters.
This segment is brought to you by I-90 Enterprises, your benchmark for excellence.
So everybody had been hooked up, had brought fish in close to the boat, other than with the exception of my sister, who was pretty whipped anyways, didn't care. Wanted to see if Jamie could actually get one in. So pole bent over once again. Line starts stripping. Jamie runs to the back of the boat, picks a rod out of the holder, and sure enough, fish on.
And you're probably gonna run and jump and you're gonna stretch your arm towards it. Don't reel anymore. There you go. Reel. That's it.
He's gonna jump in the boat.
Well, Junkies, I couldn't think of a better way to finish our trip here in Puerto Rico. Had a blast fishing with Omar. As you can see, there's no shortage of tarpon here. Everybody on the boat hooked up, caught fish. Nikki lost a big one. I didn't get the trophy picture, but Omar says it counts. Had one where he was touching the leader, so we're gonna count it, and couldn't have asked for a better trip with Omar. How can people get a hold of you?
Please log on my webpage, fishinginpuertorico.com. The name of my company is Caribbean Outfitters, 787-671-1469. That will be the best way to get in contact with me. And thank you very much to have you on. I mean, it was great to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Stay
Take care.
tuned for next week's episode. Once again, thanks for watching Outdoor Junkies.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Bear Sense. For more information, go to bearsense.com.
So super excited for my brother-in-law to get his first tarpon, along with my dad and myself and Kaysen and my sister to be able to hook one of that size. It was all shaping up to be a trip of a lifetime, one that we'll definitely never forget.
I don't know if you can see or not, but over my shoulder, just tarpon servicing everywhere. I think there's just a couple in here. Take a look.